Hello and welcome to the Mastermind Growth, where we share the wisdom, the stories and the insights from business owners. My name is John Cashier-Rice and I have the pleasure to be your host for this week's podcast. I am your local Federation of Small Businesses membership advisor, meeting and supporting business owners from all industries. Today we have Hayley with us today. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
That's all right. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about your business.
My business is Hayley Stoner Design and Music. Primarily it was going to be just music and design, but since then I've added in some other aspects. So I've now got a blog and I do some healing courses, and I'm just about to launch a shop as well.
Fab, you sound busy.
Very busy. It's all sort of come at once as well. None of this has been planned. It's just all sort of gone steamrolled, one after the other.
I think sometimes even if you go into business with a plan,
yeah,
there's an organic aspect to business where it just seems to blossom and grow of its own accord.
That's right, yeah. As I said, it did just start with music. I'd never touched on music before, but my husband, he has a music background. He's always sort of delved in DJing since he was young. And he started making his own music, and I just sort of got involved in it, helping him. And then the next thing, I downloaded the software and I was making my own as well. So it happened that quickly. And at the time, I actually had a full-time graphic design job because my background's graphic design, hence why I've sort of tied that in with it. But I wasn't happy in my job. I was really stressed and anxious and really needed a change in direction. So I just handed my notice in there last March and left there in May, and since then I've been focusing on doing my brand and building it up and releasing songs, and I've released 5 songs now, and said everything else has just come on after that really.
Oh, fabulous. I kind of get the idea that there's a synergy between sort of design and music. Have you found some of the concepts from design help you with your music?
Yes, so I design all my own track release covers. I've done all my branding for myself and my husband. I deal with both our websites and maintain them. I do all our profiles for our social media and all our sort of promotional material. So all the design work is done by me. So that's a big job in itself. Try to get my husband to sort of take on some roles of doing some things now to get it off of me. But it's all really interesting. So it's the design part of it is I'm designing what I want to design now, whereas before it's not been the design work I've wanted to do, and so it's really interesting now to be able to tie that in with it.
Well, I'd be fascinated to find out a little bit more about the process of you've released 5 songs. So yeah. From idea or song through to end, would you be able to give us an overview of that process?
As I said, I was helping my husband out on something he was doing, and then he ended up sort of throwing it out the window, and I said, I actually quite like that. And I took over on it. This was before I started to download it and sort of do it myself. So I took over that and sort of just like fiddled around with it. And I was like, actually, I'm quite good at this, quite enjoy this. And then I stopped that and then created my own one, as I said. And all the songs, I've even write all the songs as well. I've never written any song lyrics before, but that's just sort of happened. And sorry, that's my cat clawing the carpet in the background.
A bit of rhythm before us talking.
Yes. I started writing some song lyrics at the time. My husband had been ill, and he'd been ill for about 4 years with an undiagnosed illness.
Oh dear.
So a lot of my song lyrics have come from that time that we were going through. So it just literally come like I wrote the song lyrics, worked with a vocalist, and then when I downloaded the software, it just sort of came from there. I use Logic Pro.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you've heard that one.
Yes.
So I already knew a little bit about it because Gary had been using it, but I had to obviously pick up a lot of it myself. So and then it's just like creating different aspects of the song and it just came from there, really. Because obviously I did have a little bit of insight from watching my husband do his and stuff like that. So I sort of knew how to lay out a track as such.
Yes.
But yeah, it just all sort of come from there. But so that was the first track. And then the others come really, really quickly after that. But it's getting time to actually work on music now, because I've got so many other things going on. You have to sort of think, right, well, I have to actually take this week out to make some music and
excellent
everything else on back burner.
Yeah, and I think something you just need time. It doesn't matter whether it's music, arts, any project, even in any workspace, you need some dedicated time to that. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I mean, when I was first doing it, because obviously I had so much going on, like in my head, I was really stressed and everything like that. Hence why I've done this course, because I ended up having to sort of heal myself from stress and anxiety and release a lot of emotions and stuff. So that's why I've done the course, as I wanted to help like a lot of other people that are going through a similar thing. Now I've gone off a train of thought. What was we talking about?
Well, I think we've moved on to a slightly different subject.
We have, yeah. We need to go back a bit.
No, I think it's an important subject, because I think there's a lot of stress at the moment, because we're just coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
As we record this, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, and with that, so what would be some of your top tips if there's somebody feeling stressed, overworked?
Basically, it's all about resistance, I found. So, for example, my job that I was forcing myself to go to that job when I didn't want to. And the more you resist against something, the more worse you're going to feel. So if I would basically really suggest, don't do anything you don't want to do. Don't force yourself to do things you don't want to do. That is a really, really big thing for me, that was.
And is there a difference between forcing yourself to do what you don't want to do, and there's things that you sometimes just don't like doing?
Yeah, so I would say forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do, like me, when I was really dragging myself into work every day, which was causing so much me to just feel isolated at work, to feel worthless, just basically depression and anxiety. That in itself caused all them things. So I suppose, and it's the same with everything. I mean, if it was just a case of someone asked you to go out today but you didn't really want to go, it's not the same, but it is in a respect, because you're still going against what you really should be doing. You're not following what your inner being is telling you. You're following on someone else telling you to do it, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think there's a lot of business owners. They set up a business for many reasons, but one is to walk to the rhythm of their own drum.
That's right. Yeah.
So tell me how this course came about.
So the course, as I said, my husband had been ill for a long time, and no one was sort of helping him with that. The doctors didn't know what was wrong with him, and he'd had it for like 4 years. So I was helping him. So I started learning this energy healing process for him, and then I found out exactly what was wrong with him. So basically, all my time was focusing on him, and obviously, I'd already had all this stress from being in this job I didn't like, and then obviously before that, and then having to stay in this job because I needed the money to support both of us while he was off. And so then I'd quit this job, but then I still had all this going on. And then I ended up finding out what was wrong with my husband and ended up sorting that out. So then I could focus on myself. Yes. When I started focusing on myself, I realised there was a lot of stuff I needed to do for me. So the course came about when I was like, oh, I could do this for a living. I could, stand there all day and I could heal people, but I don't want to do that. There's other things I want to do, but obviously I still want to help people. So the course was like, create the course. People can then pay one fee and then they learn it themselves and they can heal themselves. And that's it. They don't have to, wait for me to do it or when I've got time. They can do it themselves whenever they've got time. And the course is designed as well, especially for stressed people and people that become overwhelmed, because the course itself is not long at all. You could go through like all the slides in a couple of hours, but it's actually the work that you have to put in yourself after the course that's the work, basically.
Fabulous. It sounds what a lot of people need at the moment.
Yes, I think a lot of people could benefit from it. And so much, people living in fear at the moment, I would say.
Yes. So it sounds like what you do, your business is very collective. And I think there's a lot of people who kind of feel pushed to focus in on one thing.
Yes.
What would you say if somebody wanted to set their own business up like you do with all those different aspects to it? What advice would you give them?
Well, as I said, I didn't really know my business was going to have all these aspects. But I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. I've always known that, and I've said all my jobs, I've not been happy with them. And I've never really been given the opportunity to progress, or show my potential. So I always knew I wanted to do that. So if someone knows they want to start their business, then normally you know what you want to start your business in. So mine was basically music, but then, as I said, everything else has just come since then. But it's other things that I really like doing, like the shop now. It's basically my own brand, and I've designed all the clothes, and I'm using my blog logo, EDM Journey to Freedom, as the brand. So it's gone from a blog now to a clothing line. So it's just, I think once you start getting into something, as long as you're sort of clear in your mind and you don't have any other stresses and you can focus straight in on that, everything else will just fall into place. That's what's happened to me.
Yeah, fabulous. I love that, because I sometimes, and I think it is vital that if you come across the left-right brain concept, where the left brain is logical, the right brain is the creative side.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses, it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, and that is important, but it's often the right side of the brain, the creative side, which sounds like you've unleashed.
Yes. I mean, I have always been a creative person, and I've always loved any sort of art, but as I said, music was just sort of a really sort of out of the woodwork thing. I was not expecting that to come, but glad it has.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely. The creative side is what I really love, and that's why everything in here in my business is creative. But I'm also adding in some, there's other aspects, like some, sort of computer sort of side, like where I need to use Word or PowerPoint, and that's all in there as well, because I still like that side of it as well. So it's just a combination of everything that, all the jobs that I've ever had in my life have just sort of come into this business.
Sounds fabulous to me. It sounds fabulous.
Yes, it's very interesting.
So if there's somebody listening to this and they may be intrigued with your course, how would they find out more about your course?
Well, I think I've given you the link to share on the site, but also they can go to my website. So my website is hsdesign-music.co.uk, and they need to go to my blog page, and there's a blog post about it on there.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Hayley, for sort of sharing your insights and your passion with us.
That's okay.
And if you happen to know any other business owners that would be great to be interviewed on here, please do let me know.
I will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week, and until next time, hopefully see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.